what's the difference between healthy striving for growth and unhealthy perfectionism? So this is an awesome question. Um, Admittedly, something that a lot of hard chargers and high achievers struggle with. Look, everybody who falls into that category understands that we are always becoming something, right? And so that question of, who and what are you becoming? Right? We never want to stagnate in our lives. We never want to peak. Our best should always be ahead of us, right? We always need something to strive for. We're either growing or we're dying, right? And again, that idea of never peaking in life. But the trick is, how do you do it in a sustainable way? How do you do it in a way that, um, you know, doesn't become unhealthy, right? So I think the easiest way to really address and identify this is, where are the motivations coming from? Um, is it, and what I mean by that is it internal or is it external, right? If it's healthy striving for growth, that motivation usually comes from within and it's optimistic. If we're talking about unhealthy perfectionism, that motivation may stem from fear, insecurity, a desire to impress others. It's usually external motivation, right? Like we're worried about validation from an external or an outside source, right? Um, if we're talking about healthy striving, again, goals are a great part of this, right? They're in place. They're attainable. The goals allow for mistakes, for growth. Again, they're sort of set internally, and they're things that we want to strive for. We also have the ability to demonstrate resilience after setbacks, and an openness to constructive criticism, right? Again, we're talking about healthy striving for growth, because we're committed to achieving the thing. We want that success. We want that growth. We want better for ourselves. So you see a little bit less ego involvement, right? The process itself is the fulfillment. That's the journey. And it fosters well being because we're invested in the journey of our own growth for the sake of growth, right? If we get, you know, if we're talking about unhealthy perfectionism, some of those things shift a little bit, right? Whereas a mistake can trigger some really harsh self criticism, feelings of inadequacy. We may be less likely to seek some of that constructive criticism because we don't want to hear what we're doing wrong. Our ego doesn't want to hear that. Some of our goals or our standards may be unattainable. They may result in, stress or anxiety. They start to erode our self-value, our self-worth, the way we see ourselves. That type of a pursuit leads to anxiety, to burnout, and it diminishes our well-being, right? So I think if you're trying to figure out whether or not you're dealing with a healthy striving for growth versus unhealthy perfectionism, those are some great questions to ask yourself. I guess one more would be, I said self-value and self-worth, right? In unhealthy perfectionism, your self-worth is contingent upon your success. I think that's a really big one here. That's a big differentiator that can easily be identified, right? Whereas if it's healthy striving for a goal, my self worth is stable and is not dependent upon my reaching that goal. Now, sure, I may be pissed off if I don't get that goal, and I may double down on a future effort to get there, but it doesn't change how I feel about myself. My self worth, my identity doesn't change based on reaching or not reaching a goal.